The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
One lap to go, sponsored by, oh, you know.
Well, Dale Jr. saw right there, he moved to the inside, giving the outside to Denny Hamlin, and Denny's going to get there. Wow, what a race on the final lap off of turn 2, side by side. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Denny Hamlin.
What a march to the front through this field for Hamlin.
That's a lot of Daytona 500 wins among those two drivers.
Hill in third, Briscoe fourth, Smithley fifth. Here they come off the corner for the final time.
Oh!
They all but come together, and the winner is Hamlin.
Wow, what a race. What a finish.
Welcome to episode 146 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, are you staying sane in the quarantine?
Yeah. that was as true and as honest of a moment as I've ever had on this podcast.
Nice.
I didn't know where you were going to go on the lead there, but holy smokes. Yeah.
I didn't either.
I'm trying to stay sane. I don't know about you, man. It's been, I at least get out, for, marathon training in the mornings, but that's about as far as I venture.
Yeah, I take the dog out in the morning and in the afternoon, but I haven't left the property of the apartment complex I'm in except on Saturday. Saturday, we've been going up to our West Branch house to finish cleaning it up because we're selling it. And so I get to go an hour from home, basically. So
there you go.
Yeah, but that's it. I've been sticking it out here. My wife's done the grocery shopping the last couple times, so I haven't even ventured to the store. I did go to the store last Friday, actually, and felt like I could not get out of that building fast enough.
Yeah, it's weird going to the store. Everybody's judging each other at the grocery store right now. I went, we were kind of nickel and diming a couple of things here and there, and so I would go to our local grocery store, which is just around the corner, and I walk in and people are wearing masks and they're all judging each other and looking at me, and I thought, hey, this is probably my last trip for a while.
Apparently the people at Kroger aren't as concerned about the coronavirus because I did not see any masks at Kroger when I went.
Oh, man. Yeah, we did the home delivery for the first time today, and we thought, well, we'll do that and give it a try, and that was interesting.
I tried to do the pickup.
Yeah, the pickup's the way to go. That's what we usually do.
Well, I tried to do it yesterday, and because I'm speaking poorly, I will not name the store that I tried to do it from, but they apparently weren't offering it at that particular moment. So we couldn't pick up till the next day, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. So.
Yeah, well, nobody's got anything. See, our problem for us, and this is probably a problem throughout the country, is nobody has anything in stock.
Yeah.
It's, every time I go to the grocery store, the shelves were bare, and I was being judged.
Well, considering they are a NASCAR sponsor, I will once again mention Kroger. We have a Kroger right almost literally across the street from us. And so far, everything I've needed to get, they've had in stock. Which is good. Been really impressive. So like last time I was there, the toilet paper aisle was pretty cleaned out, but they still had toilet paper and stuff. So, I recommend Kroger, but just don't go to mine because I want to still be able to have stuff there.
Yeah, that's who we got our stuff delivered by was Kroger today, and we had pretty much everything. I mean, they had to substitute some stuff,
right?
But yeah, it's scarce out there, man. It's scary.
Yeah, for our people that are out of state that listen, so we're in Michigan, and the governor issued a stay-at-home order the other day. And so we're supposed to stay home except for essential things. We can go to the grocery store. You can go outside and get fresh air or whatever. Basically, it was a way to shut down non-essential businesses or basically a way to get non-essential businesses to try and find a way to show that they're essential and stay open. So that's what we've been dealing with here in Michigan. I know there's been different things across the country. Obviously, like I said, I work for a newspaper, so we've been covering it. And
you're essential.
Yeah. I got a letter from the Michigan Press Association and everything that says I can go out, but I live an hour and 15 minutes from my office, so I have not been venturing out. I may over the next couple days, take a trip out there and see how everything's going. But I've been sitting here at my desk, sitting in the podcast studio doing my work. So
yeah, that's where I've been working. I'm in this office pretty much from, but when you're working from home, you're flexing time here and there. So
yeah,
like 6:30 to 5, I'm usually in here and then moseying around for a little bit. But back in the podcast studio tonight. So.
I'm pretty much straight from 9 to about 3 every day. I can't leave for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
After that, it fluctuates because we get our print product out.
Yeah.
I can slow down a little bit, take a break here or there, but I'm usually popping back on here every few hours. So.
Yeah, I work for a fairly good sized accounting firm, and we have been just getting slammed trying to get information out to clients because it's tax season, right? Yep. So, but everything's changing, rules are changing on the fly. We've had to modify a bunch of different emails that we send one, and then the next day things change. So. Yeah, we've been just getting slammed. Today was the first day we didn't actually get slammed, which I thought, okay, this is finally starting to calm down just a little bit, but it's gonna ramp back up as we get closer. Hopefully to maybe seeing light at the end of the tunnel of this thing. But
yeah, today was my first slow, and I use quotation marks, first slow day since working from home, which was starting tomorrow. It would be 2 weeks that I've been working from home. So.
Yeah.
It's been quite the adventure. So we're still doing the podcast through this little break we've got, but fortunately we still have some racing to talk about, surprisingly. Thanks to Denny Hamlin and iRacing and Fox Sports, I guess. A bunch of other people who decided to help put it on. We've already had discussion on this podcast about James's feelings on all this. So I'm really curious because I have not talked to James at all about this other than getting kind of a virtual eye roll on Facebook.
There was a Michael Scott meme,
yeah. Other than that, we have not discussed this at all. So Sunday we had a race at Homestead after all, but it was the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. You heard the clip at the beginning of the podcast, the last lap, if you missed it on TV, which not a lot of people did because the ratings were off the charts. Denny Hamlin gets the pass on Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the final lap to win the first eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series race. NASCAR's golden boy, the most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., almost got himself another NASCAR win. James, how much of it did you watch?
The last lap.
Really? That's it, huh?
Yep. That's pretty much it. Well, I caught some of the highlights, but yeah, the last lap I watched from start to finish. So that was my full engagement. That had my full attention.
So I will say that it was very reminiscent of the Replacements 100 last week. And speaking of which, there was another Replacements 100 last night. But now that so many of these drivers are doing it in conjunction with NASCAR and Fox Sports, nobody cares about that one anymore. But it was very similar to that in that there were a lot of cautions early, although there were a couple green flag runs. Jimmy Johnson looked like a freaking rookie, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I saw his highlight.
God, it was so funny.
Yeah.
But and Dale Jr. on his Dirty Mo Radio or Dale Jr. Download Facebook or YouTube channel. I don't know which channel it was, but anyway, they played a clip of a bunch of the. So when if you've never raced in one of these leagues or something, all the drivers will have a communication, like a chat room that they can talk to each other during the race. So unlike the actual race where they can't talk to each other, they got to talk through spotters or whatever, they can talk directly to each other. And he had clips from the driver to driver audio on YouTube, which was hilarious, especially for somebody like me who's raced in leagues on these before. I didn't with iRacing, but Arca Sim Racing back in the day when that was out. So it was very reminiscent of that, except with guys who are supposed to be professionals at this. And it was fun to listen to them getting mad at each other and cussing at each other. And Alex Bowman, everybody hated him just as much as they hate him on a regular weekend because he was chopping people and running people hard. But anyway, once we got past the cautions, the race went long, and Fox stuck with the broadcast, which was good. And they started. So iRacing had a big part in this, and iRacing helped put this on. And they basically killed the cautions unless they were up front at the end of the race, and that helped the last 20 or so laps really like get some actual action going. And the ending was a heck of a finish. Denny Hamlin had fresh tires, came up through. Junior had a little bit better tires, so he battled up to the lead, and then Hamlin was able to do it on the last lap. Okay, so let me say this. If there was actual NASCAR racing, there is no way I would even turn this on. But because there is not actual NASCAR racing, this filled an hour and a half to 2 hours of my Sunday, gave me a little bit of what I've been missing, and it was worth it to me. I thought it was excellent, but again, with actual racing, this doesn't happen. This doesn't matter. But without racing, this was excellent. I was super excited.
Well, here's how I'm gonna land on this whole thing. I got stuff going on, man. I don't know if I don't know if I'm not the demographic for watching video games, and maybe I don't know. I don't think I've aged out of it, but it's not something that piques my interest, right? But we are in some pretty serious, unprecedented times right now. And if this brings you a little bit of joy and gives you a little bit of a NASCAR fix, I mean, I don't have to like something for it to be great. And the way the reaction has been online with everybody on Twitter and Jeff Gluck's poll and treating this thing like a real NASCAR race, I do actually find some enjoyment knowing that what these guys are doing, Fox, iRacing, and the drivers themselves, knowing that it brings a little bit of joy to people who might need it right now, I think that is phenomenal. That NASCAR is still able to provide that in this virtual way, and I think that's pretty special. So
this is also given a chance for some of the lower tier drivers to get into equal equipment. I mean, they're still not
same
equal
setups too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not in equal equipment because if you looked at Timmy Hill's setup,
I've seen some of the, I've seen some of the pictures. Yeah.
Timmy Hill's setup is a couple $100 steering wheel and pedals that he bought from Best Buy that are attached to his computer desk in front of a single screen. Whereas Denny Hamlin has a 3-screen setup and motion simulator that costs in the $40,000 range. He said. So yeah, they're not exactly.
Kyle Busch got a new one too.
Yes, Kyle just got a new one this week, of course.
Yeah, so Kyle's starting to take it seriously.
Oh, it's got to kill Kyle because he sucked the last 2 weeks, and so it's got to drive him crazy.
Yeah, he's gonna be working on his game.
Oh yeah, he'll be running up front by the time this is all over with. But definitely, I mean, again, Timmy Hill was up there contending for the win. Garrett Smithley was up there. These drivers that you don't normally get to see that they have talent. We're up here battling, and then, like I said, Jimmy Johnson looked like a fool in the back, thinking it was under caution and wrecking the leaders. Again, it was fun. I think Fox did a great job with the broadcast because they took it as seriously as you can take a video game race, and they explained to people who don't understand what iRacing is how realistic it is, but still acknowledge the fact that it's not real. They did a pre-race invocation and national anthem and all that stuff, and it was silly. It was from people's homes. And James, I'm sure you missed it, but they even did a grid walk.
Oh, my God.
They just so happened to have Michael Waltrip at Denny Hamlin's house, and so Waltrip was there for that and offered Denny a taco.
Social distancing, Michael. Come
on. But it was tongue-in-cheek. There were things that Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon said during the race that were funny because it's a game. But they still, I mean, you heard the last lap. It was still a race, and it was, I mean, honestly, one of the best races we've had all season so far.
Yeah, right. Well, it got like a 93% on Gluck's poll or something like that. Yeah, it got high marks.
It hit as good as you can expect something like this to hit. I mean, really.
It's gonna hit. It'll hit again this week too, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were more eyeballs on it this week. Well, I mean, there's literally nothing going on for people who want to watch sports. So it's.
So this race got. Hold on, let me pull up the actual article so I get this right.
It was almost 1 million.
Yeah, it was almost 1 million people. 903,000 total views. It was the highest rated esports TV program ever. The second was Mortal Kombat on the CW in 2016 with 770,000. So to put this into perspective, I saw a stat that the season finale IndyCar race last season got about 700,000 viewers on NBC. So this was on cable.
On FS1, yeah.
And it's a video game, and it got more views than the IndyCar finale. Now, we know the fan base between NASCAR and IndyCar, and also the fact that, like you said, there's nothing else to watch.
There's nothing on, yeah.
But still, that's a pretty big deal.
Watch Jimmy Kimmel on, do a Zoom show.
Right.
I mean, that's all that's going on right now. Everybody's in their homes. It's all quarantine.
Yep, exactly.
Quarantine programming.
So,
one thing I will say really quick, though, Eric, I wanted to make a good point on this. I felt like it was good. I feel like it's a good point. Maybe you'll disagree. There's one thing that separates racing video games from all other forms of esports that I think makes a difference here. You can watch somebody play like Madden, right?
Right.
Like, let's say Tom Brady was gonna go on Twitch and do he's playing Madden against whomever, right? Some other NFL superstar. That's just Tom Brady holding a controller,
right?
And playing and pushing buttons and playing a game. The thing with racing games, no matter who it is, IndyCar drivers or NASCAR drivers or whatever, F1, there is actually, guys driving, and it's a simulated driving, but it's definitely as close to the real product as you're going to get versus any other sports video game. This is right there with what you're going to get in real life, as close.
I've never driven an actual race car. I've never been in an actual race car, but I would venture to say that probably 70, maybe 75% of the skills required to drive an actual race car are necessary to do well with this simulation. And I won't call it a game. It's a simulation. A lot of those same skill sets are there that require you to do this. Now, there's different things with an actual car where you feel it and you can't feel it. Even with the motion rigs like Denny Hamlin has, you can't feel it in this. And then there's also the risk and the how brave you have to be to put yourself in these dangerous situations and the impact when you crash and all that stuff. But I'd say safe to say that there's a bigger percentage of skills that are necessary to do well in the simulation, the same way as in the actual racing. There's more skills that are necessary than the ones that aren't, if that makes any sense, I guess. But are you still there, James?
Yeah.
Did I lose you?
No,
okay.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Nope.
And like you said, I mean, you can, if you're going to get on this system and compete with these guys, you have to have some of that driving skill. Whereas you could play against Tom Brady on Madden and destroy him because
you have like faster twitch muscles,
exactly,
for pushing certain buttons, right, or whatever it may be. The feel for the game is definitely, like you said, Eric, it's definitely a different feel from a race car.
Yep.
But it's a feel nonetheless. You have to know how to get your virtual car into those corners and lean on them a little bit. Just similar to NASCAR, it just feels different.
Right. So. And of course, whenever there's something that's successful, there's going to be 15 attempts at duplicating it. And so we had the Replacements 100, which they're still doing that. IndyCar is going to do a simulation race with iRacing, and tonight World of Outlaws is doing one on iRacing as well.
I think IndyCar might be racing at Michigan, if
they?
I'm not mistaken. Or they're getting close. I think they're doing a bracket to see where they want to race. I think Michigan's like right there for one of the races. That would be cool to watch. I actually might check that out because I miss one of the things I do miss very much in my life is IndyCars at Michigan. I used to love watching those guys race there.
I miss the fact that I never went and watched them live. If I'd have known that I was going to lose the opportunity to, I would have, I think. And, we can say that about a lot of things. But, I wish that I went. I went and watched them live there.
I was going to say, I don't know if they could run there now.
No.
As fast as that place is.
It's too dangerous.
It was too dangerous back then. And they used to, have worn out, corners. Now it's, now it's perfection out there. And I don't even know what would.
Well, and it was almost more acceptable for somebody to get hurt or killed than it is now. You know what I mean? It just was more of a part of the danger back then, whereas now you expect that people aren't going to.
Right.
So, it'd be tough to go back to Michigan, but man, I would love to see it.
One of the scariest crashes I've ever seen live. Not in person. I was watching it live, but Dario at Michigan.
Oh my God, man.
That was.
You want to talk a crash in real life that looked like a video game? That was insane.
was that must have been 09 maybe around
I think
that
it was
time,
the last
07?
time they ran there.
Yeah, 07 to 09, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact year, but I remember that flip, and it's just crazy. So yeah, that might be worth checking out if IndyCar gets to run there. That'd be cool to see that again.
That would be cool. Other than interesting things, Dale Jr.'s got him working on North Wilkesboro. It'd be awesome if they could somehow finish that and run a race there. There's a lot of short tracks and stuff that we don't run on anymore because they just can't handle a Cup Series race that we could always throw iRacing on and let them give it a shot. So I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I think we found something to entertain people in the off season too.
Yeah.
If these drivers, I know they're on vacation, they're probably not as easily available as they are during quarantine time.
Right.
You may not be able to get a Denny Hamlin in the off season, but maybe FS1 or FS2 would be interested in running some, off season series or something, with some guys. So I'm sure they could get a pretty decent field.
Yeah, I mean between the guys that are doing the replacements race, you got some spotters and stuff running there, and some of the Cup drivers and Xfinity and truck. Yeah, I think there's probably a possibility. iRacing's got to be loving this. They're getting so much exposure. I'd be really interested to see how many people are signing
those
up.
Rigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who build those rigs are probably.
iRacing always has really good deals for people that want to sign up for the first time, and I think they've got some really good ones going right now. So if you're looking at iRacing, if you watch this and think it'd be pretty cool to get involved in it, definitely check it out. I know a couple more weeks of this watching it myself, and bad things are going to happen on my end. So
yeah, I know
we might have to cancel the podcast going forward because I'm too busy iRacing during the week.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Couple other things with this race before we move on. As a result of the excellent ratings, Fox has decided they will continue, or they will air the remaining races. Originally, they'd said they were going to do it on Fox Sports 1, but they're going to simulcast on Fox Sports 1 and Fox.
Where Fox the big show.
Up, so, yep.
Yeah, those rings will go up on Fox.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So any of your local affiliates, if they don't want to show reruns of other crap, they will show the iRacing racing on Sundays. So this weekend they go to Texas Motor Speedway, which would have been the race we were racing at this weekend. So, right? Yeah, it would have been Texas. Yeah.
Would have been Texas.
I think that covers everything with the iRacing race. Yeah, I think that's everything. Couple other bits of news we got over the past week. The Olympics have been postponed till at the latest next summer. That opens up 2 weeks during the summer if everything gets back to normal. That NASCAR can plug in some makeup races if they need to. So I might get my wish and not have that 2 week gap.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, you're getting it now.
Yeah, exactly. So. Right.
Yeah, I think May 3rd for NASCAR seems like it might be optimistic right now.
Hey,
I don't
James,
know.
the president says that by Easter everything's going to be back to normal. So,
boy.
If Trump says it, it's got to be true.
Yeah, I don't, man. It seems like it's a long way away.
Yeah, it's too quick. I think we can safely expect that by June we might be getting back to normal.
Yeah,
but I think May is a little early, and to the point that Indianapolis is looking at what they can do with their races. There was rumor last week that we may end up seeing the Indy road course race, the Indy Grand Prix, run in conjunction with the NASCAR race. So that'd be pretty neat. Do that as a doubleheader on July 4th weekend.
Start cramming stuff together, yeah.
Yep. So we could see that IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader this year now as a result of this.
I'm not looking at the notes. I told Eric before the podcast I was going to wing it. But the NHRA has changed their point system for the rest of this year. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, so they are shortening their season and they are taking out their playoff format and they're going straight up old school season points format. Yeah. So maybe NASCAR might try something like that. I don't know. It's all up in the air right now, but
and that's another thing that was mentioned. We just got word today. Jenna Fryer was tweeting about it that, as expected, NASCAR is considering running some midweek races and potentially double headers when they return to action, assuming that no events need to be canceled before, or no more events need to be canceled before Martinsville. When they're planning on coming back, we'd have Atlanta, Homestead, Texas, Bristol, Richmond, Talladega, and Dover. Those would be the races that we'd have to make up. So the plan would be to take any of the races that run a second race at a track and turn them into doubleheaders. So Texas, Bristol, Richmond, Talladega, and Dover would all be doubleheaders potentially.
Wow.
And then Atlanta Homestead could potentially be a midweek race, and that would make us up the rest of the season so far. So basically, we'd be looking at maybe a Cup race on Wednesday and a Cup race on Sunday, and whatnot. So
how would that? So how would that affect the playoffs then if we do a Texas doubleheader?
Don't know. I mean, all of those, because Richmond's in the playoffs, isn't it?
The second Richmond is in the playoffs.
I know
now,
Talladega
right?
is.
Talladega is in the playoffs. Yes. Martinsville is in the playoffs.
Yep.
Bristol's a playoff race now.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It's that's all up in the air still. And of course, what we've been discussing is that, and this is all stuff that's just being overheard. Nothing's been officially announced yet. Jennifer Fryer also notes that NASCAR also cut some salaries this week. I believe they cut from the top down, so a lot of the executives got their salaries cut first, which is nice to see. And then a lot of teams, I guess sponsors are holding back payments to see what happens. So there's money stalled right now in the series, which isn't surprising.
Yeah, especially when we're facing we're staring down the eyes of a recession.
Yeah.
So it's gonna, we've got shades of 2008 in a different way.
Yeah.
We're looking at right now. Yeah.
I mean, there's certain industries that are doing really well right now. If you own a grocery store chain or a trucking company, it's doing really well right now.
Yeah, they're doing well. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. What's some other ones that are Zoom? I think stock in Zoom is going way up right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much the news that I have this week. Obviously, all this is still up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen going forward. Man, I hope we can get back by Martinsville. But who knows?
Yeah, we'd hate to lose Martinsville night race, right? That's the lights. Yeah. It's gotta suck for Pocono too. Everybody was all hyped up for you guys to have the first doubleheader, and now it's just gonna be a common thing.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, it's definitely unprecedented. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it keeps getting worse. I don't know. It's trying not to be Debbie Downer on the podcast.
Well, and it's tough too because you don't know who to listen to. I hear one thing that's positive, and it's like, I get my hopes up and stuff, and then I see a negative report, and it's like, crap, this could be forever.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is, the biggest problem right now is that we just don't know enough about this virus to know what it's going to do.
For us in Michigan, we keep seeing it creep towards where you and I live.
Right. Well, and the other thing that's really interesting with Michigan is we are getting a glimpse at the future. So we can watch California and now New York City because theirs is going out of control, but we can see what's coming. Right now, we still have schools. They're canceled now till April 13th. But schools are still planning on going back. Well, the other states that are ahead of us on this thing have already canceled the rest of the year. So we pretty much know we're going to be canceling the rest of the year. And when it came to shutting down the state, that was done. California did it a week before. Illinois and Ohio did it a couple days before. Everybody, you just see what's coming to Michigan. And so it's really strange to sit here and see the future and then see the people who aren't taking it seriously that are creating this problem that we have.
Yeah.
But
I know. Yeah. I was out, I was coming home on Sunday, just grabbed a couple of things and was making doing one of those quick trips. And I could not believe all the people north of 60 who were out walking around. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all you guys do is watch TV all day anyway. And then go, and I'm like, you guys are the ones who shouldn't be out here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
If anybody, you guys should be home. Stay safe.
Yep.
And then for my grandparents, I had my jaw hit the floor because my grandpa's just, doing whatever he wants. I'm like, Grandpa, you can't. I don't care that the grocery store has senior hours. Go home.
Right. That's my boys wanted to go over to their friend's house, and we said, no, you can't do it. We're just not going to do it right now.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm thankful that my daughter is 3.
Yeah.
And will never remember this as far as, she got to stay home with mom and dad for a long period of time.
Right.
But other than that, it's weird.
Yep. So we don't know what to expect. Hopefully the summertime comes, it warms up, and this thing dies off. Hopefully we figure out a vaccine or some sort of cure that will help us, and we can get back to normal, because I'm ready for it. This sucks.
Yeah. I want my my normal life back. I want my racing back. Lots of things.
Yeah, at least we get some sort of NASCAR on the weekends, I guess. So
yeah, some sort. Yeah,
sort of NASCAR.
It's okay. Yeah, and if you don't want to watch it, pick up a controller yourself and go play or do whatever you want to do. Go outside.
Yeah, I've been burning some time into the old video games in the evenings, especially.
Yeah.
I, of course, not NASCAR related, but James knows I bought a Nintendo Switch late last year, and I'll tell you what, guys, if you like Zelda games, this Zelda game on Nintendo Switch, every time I get bored with it, I put it down for a day or two, and I come back and I find something else that's fun with it. And I put so many hours into this thing, it's ridiculous.
Turning this into a video game podcast.
Yeah, considering how little time I have in my life, it is amazing how much time I put into this game before the lockdown.
Yes.
Now I actually have time to put into it, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. We were a couple weeks ago. I told Erin, my wife Erin, I said, "Man, our streaming services we're getting backed up. We can't seem to keep up with the shows we like to watch." And now we've burned through everything. I'm like, where did we even find the time? But I guess it's there now.
Yeah, I got behind. I quit watching Survivor last year, and the other night I'm like, what can I watch? Ah, crap. I guess I'll pick back up, because it's all still on my recordings on YouTube TV. And so I started back up on Survivor, last season's Survivor.
There you go. I heard this was a good one, so you got something to look forward to.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I still can't get into it as much anymore. I just want racing. So that's all I watch during, like, that's the only reason I have TV, really, is NASCAR, Supercross, and hockey. That's it.
Gone.
And all of them are gone. It's
all
just
gone.
It's awful.
See, my Sundays, I swapped my waiting for NASCAR to, I had to wait a little bit longer, and then I could watch my my doppelganger Larry David on Curb, and Curb ended on Sunday, so now I have nothing left. There's nothing left. There's nothing left for me in the barren wasteland of TV.
Yeah, but at least with your life, you always have Curb, because your life is Curb.
More so now than ever. Really, he did a bit. I laugh now, but I don't want to give any. If anybody is watching Curb, he did some bits this season, and it really was like watching myself on screen. I was just like, wow, this is the old man I will become.
I like that you're proud of it. That's the best part.
I really am proud of it. I mean, Larry's a legend.
James, you got any shout outs this week?
I'm trying to think if there's a couple of things I'm trying to watch that I thought maybe I'd do like a streaming, what I've found on streaming.
Sounds good.
That seems to be what we've got going on. So what I'm looking forward to is Ozark. Ozark's coming back.
Okay.
On Netflix. And then I stumbled across another F1 documentary, but I haven't started it yet. But if you guys have not watched the F1, I brought it up before in the show, but there's the F1 series that they have where they follow the drivers around, which is really good. But then there's this new one on Netflix. I saved it to my queue. I haven't got into it yet, but so that's on my Netflix watch list. And then, I'm trying to think of anything else I've come across. But if you've got HBO, always good stuff. Go watch Curb. That's another recommendation.
Yeah, HBO is definitely worth having. I don't have it, and I wish I did, because it's definitely a good place to kill some time with. Let's see here. I'll give my normal shout out to the Dale Jr. download. I haven't been listening to it because I'm not in the car for 2.5 hours a day anymore. But he's had Ken Schrader on, he's had Kyle Petty on, and then doing the stuff with the iRacing thing. It's worth checking out, as always. I'm trying to think. There were a couple Instagrammers. Obviously, Barron Speedway, friend of the show. Check out his stuff. He's been doing some cool stuff on his track. He's working on some grandstands right now, which look awesome. Every time I see his stuff, I'm so jealous.
He's been wrapping trucks, which is pretty cool. He's got a lot of new trucks out there, so that's been cool to watch. So yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then I'm trying to find who the other one was, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it quick enough here. I mean, I can stall. We've got months, or at least a month or two before we have to go back to racing. So it stretches as long as I need to
figure out what we're going to talk about. I mean, yeah, video game podcast. Maybe I need to pick up a video game controller and hop on.
Get yourself a Nintendo Switch, man. It's awesome. Of course, there's not a lot of racing stuff and everything for it, but the Switch is nice because you can take it wherever you go. Especially the Switch Lite is really nice, although you can't connect that to the TV.
But see, now you can't leave the house, so
right, that's true.
Might as well just.
That's true, but man, you can play video games on the can.
I did. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we all got our phones on there. We might as well play video games on there too.
I showed my daughter over the weekend how to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was one of my favorite games as a kid.
I have that on the Switch.
Yeah, and I've got my favorite's 3, but 3 is a little more advanced. So I thought, well, she could probably play like the first level of Sonic 2, and she got all the way to the boss at the end, and I was like, holy cow!
Wow.
She couldn't figure out how to finish that part, but I took care of that for her. So
see, my kids have been playing Zelda, and they have not gotten very far on the Switch. I almost feel bad for them because they're still way at the beginning. I can't find it. Just guys, follow Baron Speedway on Instagram, and then go to his list of people he follows, and just follow everybody he follows. That's probably your best bet.
Yeah, he's following a lot of cool tracks and stuff.
Yeah, that's how I stumble across him. But there's a couple of them. There's a guy who's building replicas of like Bristol, and I saw him. He had a replica of the backstretch of Talladega, and cool
I saw a guy, and I think Baron was the one who cued me on this. But if you like any of his stuff, what ends up happening is if you go to search on Instagram, that stuff starts to filter into your search.
Yep.
And there was a guy who made a bunch of stuff using, I think it was either Halo. It must have been Halo Reach, the game. Anyway, he was making all sorts of NASCAR tracks using the Halo Forge editor.
Huh.
So they were racing like Halo vehicles and warthogs across and he would like make Daytona and Bristol, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And they were like all to scale based on the size of the vehicle. I was like super impressed. I have to find that guy too. That was some pretty cool stuff.
That's funny. That's cool. All right, I think that does it for us this week. Like I said, we'll be back next week. We'll do this all again and
ramble again.
Yeah, we'll ramble on. If you guys have things you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it. Obviously, there's going to be less and less NASCAR discussion because there's just not a whole lot to talk about right now. But we'll hit on the news as much as we can and I don't know, BS for a half hour to an hour. James, if they want to talk to you before next week, how can they hit you up on social media?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcasts on there, a bunch of the old ones if you want to check those out. Coverage of past races, articles, whatnot. It's all there. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen. And if you want to become a part of the show and help us out, you can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. I don't know what this race is called this weekend. The last weekend was the Dixie Vodka 100, I think. But I don't know. It's what the heck is it? It's the, hold on, let me get it right. The eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series will be at Texas Motor Speedway this weekend, virtual Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. I'll be checking it out on Sunday on Fox and Fox Sports 1, and I'll be back next week to talk about it. James probably will just, he'll be here, but he won't watch it because he's a hater like that. So
I'm just here to be the hype man.
There you go. So we'll be back next week to talk about some iRacing and hopefully some optimistic stuff about when we'll be back racing. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.